Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, loud and clear.
So, for today, 15 minutes is it's very short for such a complex topic. My goal for today is just to shape your philosophy or your way of thinking about electric cars, because my deep belief is that electric cars are much more than electric drivetrain. Everybody, when you're thinking about electric cars, is thinking about zero local emissions, but it's much more than that. And for me, the main takeaway that I would like to propose for you after this presentation is a paradigm shift. You'll see it's not a technical presentation; it's more a philosophical one. How to relate to cars in the future, and the starting point is that electric cars are bringing a huge revolution in an industry that is highly conservative. And this is somehow natural for automotive industry to be conservative if you consider that the development cycle of a car nowadays around 6 to 7 years, maybe 5 for the newest models. You have high cost and complex structures for development and production of cars and long product life cycle. So this means, for example, that if a new technology comes when the car is just launched, I need to wait until the next product life cycle in order to be able to offer it to the customers, or even longer if the technology is it's very complex. So this is why, for example, we don't see integration of new things like even the most mundane USB sticks so fast in the cars. For those who remember, the USB stick was ubiquitous in everywhere, but not in cars. We needed to wait 3-4 years until it made its move on the cars and made, I don't know, CD or cassettes really obsolete. So we are speaking of a huge revolution in this context of a very conservative industry. And one of my favorite examples to illustrate this is the engine hood of a car. Nowadays, because everything is encapsulated, you are not your own mechanic. You need to go to a workshop with a modern car. We don't really need an engine hood, but like BMW engineer used to explain, as long as we have a great team that is building top of the art engine hoods, we are still offering this on our cars. It was jokingly said, but it's still real. We are used to build the cars in a way, and we are keeping to build them like this. Although, if we are able to drop the engine hood altogether, to only to make an opening for service, will save a lot of weight in the car, because will not need safety mountings for engine hood. We will not need fixing all other things. And actually, if you think about it, nowadays in a modern car, you use as a client the engine hood only for windscreen wipers liquid. So it's a huge installation, very complex one, for a small cap in the end. You can see it also here, the small blue cap. You open a big hood just to open again a big cap. So this is how a good example how tradition makes things evolve slowly, sometimes in automotive on the industry. But on the other side, electric cars, as I said, are much more about more than just electric drivetrain, and I believe they are creating a huge paradigm shift. And this shift is coming both from external and internal sources. This picture on the left is from Bucharest. It's quite near where I live, and this is actually before the pandemics. This was more or less a normal situation in Bucharest, which is the most crowded city in Europe at the moment, with the highest congestion rate. There is a high pressure for us automotive producer to change, to rethink the car. The pressure comes from the need to protect the environment, comes from the overwhelmed traffic, big traffic congestion in the city, and also from new mentalities, fiscal mentalities by local, national, and regional governments. like EU laws that restrict, for example, emissions and make integration of diesel much more difficult in the future car, but still relevant in some cases. So all these external factors are a high pressure for change. In the same time, there is a high pressure from change from the car itself, from the way we use an electric car, because all of a sudden, if we were used to refuel the car 5 minutes at the petrol station, and the petrol station were quite accessible and ubiquitous, nowadays, with an electric car, you really need to plan your charges if you want to travel on long distances, and you really need to rely on a home charging if you want to use the daily car, the electric car as a daily car without major problems. So all of a sudden, the way I do a highly important thing on my car, the way how I refuel the car, has completely changed. And the change of how we think the cars come also from a strategic level. Connectivity, it's a huge factor for transforming the car as itself. The car will become much more than a transportation tool from A to B, and will be highly empowered by connectivity. And connectivity, it's not a gimmick. It's a high requirement not only for for autonomous driving, as you have seen in a previous presentation, but it's a high requirement also for daily use of an electric car. Connectivity really can transform my usage of an electric car. And I will get into that, how a little bit into that, how is the car changing because of all of these factors. First of all, if we speak about electric cars, we speak about in a context of sustainability. We want to protect the environment. We want to create a circular economy. This means that there is not enough to focus on only the way we drive the cars, that we have zero local emissions, so we don't pollute in the place we are driving the car. It really needs to change the complete way we are producing cars, we are using them, and we are recycling them. It's not only enough to have zero local emission, it's very important to avoid emissions when you produce the car, to look at what materials you are using and what's the impact of those materials. And here, for example, cobalt, it's a a very important topic. And also how you recycle the car. In this picture here, you can see the Leipzig BMW factory in Germany, where BMW i3 and i8 stopped production, actually, where BMW i3 is being produced at the moment. And you see in the background the huge wind turbines. Actually, at the moment, starting 2020, BMW, I think, is the first automotive producer which can say that the whole energy is using in production of car is coming from sustainable sources. And this is another major shift that needs to complement electric cars. It's not only enough to, as I said, to offer the customers the certainty that he doesn't pollute while he drives. The whole cycle needs to be reviewed, and the whole production process, selection of materials, everything is changing because of that. As I said as well, connectivity plays a major part in electrification, and I want to give you just two short examples. First of all, the way we charge the cars is becoming really important. Everybody who drove an electric car on longer, the benefits of connectivity when you plan and use your route, because you are able to see, for example, if other chargers are available on your route, or they are not functioning, or they are occupied. You can plan your car, when to charge. You can precondition your car. This is also remotely, and this is also a highly important factor, especially in strong winters. I don't know if it's so important in Greece, but for example, in Romania, during strong winters, electric range is significantly affected. And with preconditioning, so setting a temperature for departure, the car gets to that working temperature both for drivetrain and interior, using energy from the plug. So you'll be prepared and with optimum temperature, and it will assure a lot of more range for you in difficult weather conditions. So connectivity is highly important for the way we use electric cars, and also it's highly important for the way we charge electric cars. But because, for example, there will be, you can easily imagine that if we all of a sudden switch from normal internal combustion cars to electric cars, there will be a lot of strain on the electric network. Actually, it doesn't need to be like this. With car-to-vehicle solution, electric cars can play can have a benefit to the electric network. They can be connected to the network only when there is a surplus in green energy, for example, or they can even work in a group. The whole fleet of electric cars can work as a storage unit for the complete country electric infrastructure. So all of a sudden, the complete way I refuel my car is changing, but not only is changing that I need to plan it differently, I need to go to other location and so on, but it also can, in the end, be a financial gain to the user, because if the user chooses to offer his part of the battery in his car for electric storage for the net infrastructure, that can translate to financial benefit for the customer. So with connectivity, the whole way we are thinking to use the car, to charge the car, can completely change in the next years. Also, connectivity has another major benefit, and if we need to build connected cars, then we'll have cars ready for autonomous driving, more or less, because autonomous driving cannot exist without connected cars. Cars connected with themselves, with other car-to-car communication, and with infrastructure. And also another major benefit for autonomous driving is that now, for an electric car, most of the system need to be electrical. Climate needs to be electrical, but also, for example, steering assistance. And this is a major benefit for surprisingly, maybe or not, for autonomous driving. It allows remote or intelligent use of this system if they are much easier to control if they are electrified. So an electric car is, in the end, also an opportunity for autonomous driving as well. And the final revolution, if you look at all of this together, will be in the interior. If up to now, most of the time when we are speaking as the enthusiast, maybe, when we are speaking about cars, we are speaking more about the design, the power, the driving the experience. Now, because of all the things I was mentioning, the focus will be in the user experience. It's not only the driving experience, we can easily speak about the user experience and about how the next major revolution will come not from the exterior design, but from the interior design. Because, for example, one major thing, autonomous cars don't need to have a steering wheel in front of the driver all the time. In a driver-oriented car, it was cool to be surrounded by the car, to have all the information that you need around you. In an autonomous driving car, you don't need to have this anymore. You can relax. You can spend your time in the car in a completely different way. And this is a push for change, and also an opportunity to rethink the whole interior of the car. And all the major manufacturers are doing this right now. I can tell you about BMW, that is going to announce a new model that it was announced by the concept car iNext, and is going to be introduced in about it will be presented in about 3-4 weeks, and will really show this philosophy of the interior and how it's going to be changed because of, first of all, autonomous driving. And because of all of this, because of the connectivity, because of new features in the car, we can expect much more than just, as I said in the beginning, a tool for getting from A to B. And what we had in the past as gimmicks now are becoming more and more useful tools. And I just want to give you 3 short examples. First, parking. Parking in most of European cities, it's a nightmare. Parking more or less can become sexy. Because the newest cars out there can offer, for example, algorithms that evaluate the possibility to find on-street parking places. Like you have, for example, you are used with Google and Waze and other software like this, that you have a prediction how congestion a street is. You can have on the same navigation map a prediction of what's the possibility to find a parking place. And for congestion, you have a color code, for example, from green to red. In the same way, you can have, for example, from gray to blue in BMW, a prediction how easy it is to find on a specific street parking places. And this helps you to diminish a lot the problematic search for parking places. Also, nowadays, if you for on-street parking in most cities, you can use an SMS or an app to pay for how much you want to stay on that specific parking place. In modern BMWs on specific countries, the car does this by itself. It knows that you parked on a paid parking. It measures itself automatically how much you spend there, and it pays via a special dedicated account. So all of a sudden, a huge nightmare for us, the guys that live in the cities, it's becoming much more simple because of a new way of using the cars and connectivity. Also, e-zones for using plug-in hybrids to encourage to use the plug-in hybrid as an electric car inside the cities, defining on the map a specific area, the car switches automatically to electric driving. This has a lot of benefits, including taxation, because you can be considered an electric car inside of specific cities. This is also something that already works in modern BMWs. And the last example is vehicle to grid connection. Again, here we need connectivity and a smart component. So the car, all of a sudden, the whole electric car fleet all of a sudden can work like a huge storage for the national network, which is unprecedented up to now, and it will be highly complicated to have it as a huge battery. We have these batteries and we can use it not only for driving, but also for benefit for the electric network, which is highly strategic and with financial gain for the users, as I said. So this is, in a short way, what I wanted to convey you. The car is changing, and electrification is one of the main driving forces in changing how the car of the future will look like. The future is quite near now. It's into 2, 3, 4 years. We're going to see very significant change of how the car is being not only designed but also used. And my favorite example to illustrate this is the iPhone. At the beginning, when the iPhone was launched, and here is a picture with a very old iPhone. When the iPhone was launched, it was perceived as a phone with a huge display, a tactile display. But it has proved to be much more than this. The iPhone is now a medical tool, a learning tool, a scientific tool. All because a very significant change empowered the users. And this is what I hope for the car of the future. Electrification and connectivity will transform what we see and how we will perceive the cars today in something new, with a lot of opportunities. And for this, also for us that are developing the cars, are preparing new services, for us is the challenge to think outside the box and explore and try to find new opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alex, for this very interesting presentation, and to which I fully agree that we have to see the electric car more than just an engine and or a motor or a set of mechanical or electrical engineering works. And I don't know if we have any questions from the audience. No, I would like to ask you one question. To what extent do you think that these new services that you presented to us, like the vehicle to grid or the new tools for parking or using the electric car more efficiently, so to what extent do you think that these solutions could help the evolution of the electric vehicle technology and adoption in modern societies?
I think these solutions are a must. We cannot live without them because they bring, when we speak about, for example, about a range of an electric car, we consider the range only on technical specification, so to say. These new tools can transform the range or how the car is going to be used, or make the pressure of a short range obsolete. If you are able to charge fast, to park fast, all of these things to put together, if you are able to benefit from them, technical backdrop, technical problems will not be relevant anymore. Also, if you think at car to grid, if we will have all of a sudden all of the cars electric, the grid cannot survive anymore. So we really need smart grid and connected cars to make this possible. Otherwise, we'll not be able to charge all of the electric cars on the street.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Alex.